As we rapidly approach the halfway point of the BSR Summer Series, we head down to the Lone Star State for the Texas 200, live and exclusive on JCTV. This track, like many others in the NASCAR calendar, opened in the mid-90s during the boom of NASCAR track construction. A mile and a half, very similar to some of the other tracks it shares heritage with, but a little bit of a reprofiling a few years ago leaves it in an asymmetric state. Wide turn 1 and 2 with 20 degrees of banking and a much higher 24 degrees in turn 3 and 4 means that it's very much a flat out race through the back half of the track, and then you full fan out and try and find space to start the following lap. It's going to be a great challenge for our drivers here tonight. Uncharacteristically cool for Texas. It's still 89 Fahrenheit in the air, but the track temp only at 93. So we've seen some pretty difficult tire wear races, for example, over at Las Vegas. This one might be a little bit more full push, and we could see some really good battles as the drivers fan out through the first half of the speedway. I am Olivia Hayward, and Joshua Coppenall has seen the number 98 truck with the keys in the ignition and has hopped in for tonight's race. We'll try and catch up with him during one of the cautions. We think he's left his headset on in that truck. But up at the front of the field, it is the number 30 of Alex Kerfan with a 29.654 under the 30-second mark in these Craftsman trucks. David Durand and Justin Durand closely following behind. And as we get into the final minute of our practice session, track is a little bit quiet and everyone taking those final preparations, just getting ready mentally for that qualifying run. Still a few drivers in a little bit of a battle pack here though. That's Conor McCorkle and Shane O'Neill, I believe, dueling through 3 and 4. You see, there is still plenty of room through that corner as O'Neill up into the wall there. But turns 1 and 2, I mean, there's so much room for activities down there. It'll be quite easy to find clean air. You can pick a line because of that. And it does bottleneck off turn number 2. I think if we're going to see any big incidents in this race, it will be on the exit of 2, as that outside wall very much sneaks up on you. We'll quickly bring up the points as we let the qualifying session come to an end. And the truth is, the points really are a story of who has picked up a win and who hasn't. We're matching the current season of NASCAR points in 2026, and you can see how much those wins matter. Durand, 21 points clear of Roberts as the first driver without a win so far this season, and only 7 points up to Fidel Fabian. And those top 3 won the opening 3 rounds of the season. Bryson Bird picked up the win last time out at Bristol, but unfortunately did miss one of the other rounds and so does sit 50 points back. But can string some wins together, can try and keep that schedule going to maybe jump up through the field. Although Bryson not currently in attendance here, we do have our other 3 front runners. And let's focus on our leader in practice, currently second place in standings. Alex Kerfan comes to start his first flying lap. And the speed does drop a little bit through 1 and 2. This is where you're expecting to have to lift because the banking's a little bit lower. What I am curious about, I've not checked, is are we completely flat out through 3 and 4? I think on fresh tyres, yes. I didn't hear a lift there. Alex Kerfan comes across the line, finds a 29.836 for lap number 1. We'll see if we can find an improvement on the second time around. It's currently the best of anyone. Roberts slotted in second with McLaren and McCorkle behind. Joshua Coppenall comes through in the 5th position. And we'll stay focused on Alex Kerfen. See what lap time he can find. Is it an improvement? It is not. Down by 700ths there on lap number 2. So this could be a one-lap trap. But Kekalan goes faster on lap 2, as does McCorkle. They're all shuffling for position. So potentially, this could be a difference in strategy. On board with Justin Durand now to start the qualifying run. It does seem that the low line is preferred in the qualifying session here. We're going to bleed off about 30 miles an hour down into turn number 1. But the exit is so important because of how you're pushing through. He is on the higher line here, maybe not happy with his 1 and 2, and instead focusing on the launch out of 4 to start the second attempt. It is all on the table now though for Durand. 30.9 is not going to do it. Needs to find the lap here. Enters at 180. Hits it up about 165, only about 15 miles an hour down that time. Much better, a little bit squirrely on the edge that you see on the wheel, but he holds on to it. And now it is going to be foot to the floor through turns 3 and 4. Kerfen currently fast with a 29.836. What does Justin Durand have in response? It's a 29.807. That will put Durand to the top of the timing sheets for the time being, ahead of Alex Kerfen. Now Fidel Fabian on lap number 1 here. Is he going to go for a similar strategy to Durand? No, huts it down low, is committing to this first lap as a flyer attempt. Could still find pace on the second one. Nearly up into the wall there. This lap going to count as Durand goes 3rd fastest. He does get credit for it, but only 7th fastest, a 29.95. Good minimum speed there, again about 165 miles an hour. Was it a good exit? I'm not sure if he got on the power particularly early, but we will see. 1 minute left in the session. This will be the final lap on the board. Can Fabian displace Justin Durand for pole position? It's going to be an improvement, but not going to be enough. It's not going to move him up a position. Your championship leader will start from the 7th position here in Texas, and it will be Justin Durand and Alex Kerfen on the front row of the grid. That wraps up your qualifying session. In just a minute's time, we will be back with the race start.
Not everything, but I did most of it, and it was all in assembly language and track database, so all the timestamps and track.
Our drivers are lined up and ready to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's have a look at your starting lineup for tonight's race. It is Justin Durand on the pole here with a 29.806. Great job from the North Carolina native. Alex Kerfen will line up on outside pole here for the initial start. See if he can get the jump into turn number 1. David Durand will line up in the 3rd position, and Cody McCorkle will make up the outside of row number 2. Enrique Carlon will line up in the 5th position, with Wyatt Roberts lining up in 6th. The leading driver without a win, can he get the first one of the season here tonight at Texas? Then it is Fidel Fabian, championship leader, lining up in 7th place alongside our in-race reporter of Joshua Topinol. We'll see if we can have a word with him during a caution a little bit later on. If we get a caution, of course. And then it is Weston Osborne, the final driver with a time on the board. A bit of a check on the inside line there. And Stephen Thornton and Shane O'Neill rounding out your field for tonight's race. Our drivers lined up, coming through turn number 4. The pace truck will pull off, and it will be up to the control of Barney the flagman. As we pull into the start zone, we are green in the Lone Star State for the Texas 200. And Durand with a good getaway there, good reaction. What is it going to be like through 1 and 2? He's pinched down low. He lights it down low here with a slow rolling start. Will come through, and David Durand going to be challenging Alex Kerfen into turn 3. Again, this is flat out, so shortest line should prevail again. Kerfen looking for some side draft to try and hold on to this one. He's going to have the launch off the corner. He's going to be a nose behind. It's Durand that leads lap 1. Now we are up to full racing speed. Still neck and neck between those drivers for 2nd and 3rd place. And now David Durand clears it as Durand 1-2 here on the 2nd lap of action. Dwight Roberts nearly into the fence there, I'm pretty sure, down at the back of the field. Fidel Fabian looking to slice through, already up 1 position. Trying to make his way back towards his championship rivals. Currently running 1st and 3rd. Let's see inside of McCorkle, but the door is going to close. Not quite going to be enough of a run there. The driver's settling very much into this one. Single file for the time being, although David Durand is the outside of Justin. Going to try and use that high side and find the edge there. And he's going to be alongside here through the mid-corner. Is it going to be enough to take the lead? He is going to clear before turn 3. He's going to be able to take the inside line. And the 24 of David Durand to the point here on the 4th lap of 134. Great start from the Hershey's truck, up 2 positions from the starting position. And now leads the way with Justin Durand behind. Oh, a bit of a scrap there at the tail end of the field. Osborne, Topinol, O'Neill all under a blanket. Topinol to the inside of Weston Osborne. Has to pull through the corner and back up into 8th position for the number 98. Has some catching up to get to the front 7 though. As Shea O'Neill also gets around Osborne, who seems to be struggling in that number 14 truck right now. Fabian does look to the inside of Cody McCorkle here. looking for the move into the top 5. He's going to have the inside line, going to have a little bit of slipstream, but also maybe a bit of dirt, yeah, from Colin in front in the 0-2. They're going to be side by side off the corner, still nothing to separate those two. Courtauld might be able to hang on around the outside. We saw how well that worked for Durand, but this time not so lucky. Might even lose out to Wyatt Roberts as well. Fabian is into the top 5, and Courtauld now trying to hold on to 6th position. He has to back out as well. Drivers very much settling into a rhythm here. It is going to be a question of how much the tyres are going to wear. Of course, track temp is 93 Fahrenheit, not the hottest it can be, but these trucks still have an additional 60 horsepower compared to their normal configuration. And so it's going to be demanding a little bit more from those Goodyears, and it could be we still get some pretty significant tyre wear. We are down about half a second from where we started on these tyres, just 10 laps in. We'll see how that continues to decline throughout the rest of this opening stint. Fabian looking to try and get through on Enrique Colin now. Didn't get the qualifying like we would have hoped for, but Champion Leader trying to rely on race pace here to get back up to his rivals. Currently running 2nd and 3rd behind the race leader of David Durand. Fabian leads Justin Durand by 7 points. Leads Alex Kerfen by just 3. So every position is going to be crucial here tonight, especially if they get the additional 20-point jump that comes from taking home the checkered flag. Saw in qualifying the run through 3 and 4 was flat out. You're seeing a little bit of sliding. I think you're seeing a bit of lift there already on these tyres. It evolves quick, and as the sun begins to drop below the horizon, it's going to be declining a bit more, as we do have a battle for 2nd place now. Alex Kerfen's gotten to the inside of Justin Durand. We just saw that out of the front of Fidel Fabian's truck. Durand doing a great job around the outside of 3 and 4, and I think that is where that tyre wear begins to show itself. On the opening lap, you would have expected Kerfen to power through that inside line, but just can't carry the momentum now, as Fidel Fabian to the inside through 1 and 2 has to slot in behind. And yeah, drivers bleeding 5 to 10 miles an hour now through 3 and 4, just having to lift off throttle to let the front tyres bite on entry. Very quick evolution, as drivers now about a second slower than they were at the opening of this race. Fabian once again to the inside through 1 and 2, but once again can't get the corner exit from there. It's such a crucial exit. Actually, Enrique with a great run out of the corner and nearly challenging Alex Kerfen for that final spot on the podium. Within 1/10 of a second, within half a truck length on the entry into turn 1, and goes to the outside. thinking that might be the preferred move. Doesn't get the good run into the corner, but gets the exit and might be able to challenge here to the inside of the number 30. Now Kerfen has the outside run. And he's going to try and clear. We approach lap 18. Enjoy the sights and sounds of the racetrack to crank it up. Lap 20 here at Texas Motor Speedway. It is David Durand leading by about 3 truck lengths over Justin Durand, with Alex Kerfen lined up in the 3rd position. Championship leader Fidel Fabian runs in 5th as things stand. Has not been able to find a way around that 0-2 of Enrique Carlin. About halfway through this opening stint of the race. And the top 6 really under a blanket right now. Cody McCorkle just fading from this lead group. And Coppin and Osborne for 8th place have been in quite an intense fight so far. In fact, Osborne is to the inside through the triangle, clips the grass through the quad there and gets a little bit squirrely. That's going to let Josh sweep around the outside on the entry into turn number 1 and hold the position. And now the 14 could be under threat from Shane O'Neill. Aston run the only Ram in the field here tonight. Enrique running the only Ford F-150. Very much a Chevrolet dominated lead here. See if one of the other contenders can pull off a good result tonight. Speaking of that F-150, still running in that 4th position. Has put a little bit of a gap from Fidel Fabian now. Relieving the pressure as maybe 11. Used up a lot of tyre cutting through at the start of the race. And he's falling back towards Wyatt Roberts. And we mentioned Wyatt as the best of the rest so far this season. Has had some great results, but has not been able to find victory lane as of yet. The points leader running just in front. We'll see what he can find. Wyatt picked up 2 top 5s in the last 2 races at Vegas and Bristol. Looking to come into the top 5 again. A little bit of a run off the corner here. He does peek to the inside. Does he have the grip down low to get the position? Maybe. Got the nose ahead. Fabian just with the run off the corner. But a great attempt from the number 42, and this is pulling Fabian out of that battle with the lead group just a little bit more. had some attempts at moves. Again, the exit of turn 2 really where you can try and get alongside, but with the additional tyre wear, it seems like it's just so difficult to complete the pass in 3 and 4. Not had a move forward position in quite a while. Cullen is very close to Alex Kerfen here, trying to look to the outside to flip the script. Can't quite get alongside, but could get the exit on Alex Kerfen. See what he has planned into turn number 1 here, lap number 29 of 134. And it seems like the outside line is the best attempt. Not necessarily to try and stay there the whole corner, but to get the exit, get on the power earlier. To try and launch down into turn number 3. The driver's now bleeding off about 15 miles an hour on entry of 3. And Collins into the wall. You just can't continue that run when you have to lift off so much for the corner. And Collins on the power a bit too early out of the corner. Does get up into the fence. And falling back now towards Del Fabian. Not sure if there's any damage on that 0-2, but it's definitely hurt the momentum for this lap number 30. And Del Fabian will look to the inside, try and keep that pressure on, and get up into the 4th position. Fabian's all the way to the inside here. Has a nose ahead. Is he clear out of the corner? He is. I think there must be some damage on that truck of the 0-2 because after so much trouble we see from everyone making moves so far this race, Fabian made it look easy. Roberts sliced through as well. I think that 0-2 Ford has some suspension damage potentially. Going to be hoping for a caution to get it fixed, but this race has been running very single file so far. I'm not sure that we're likely to get a caution anytime soon. I have to hope for a mistake in the pit cycle, maybe. Tardan close to 2 seconds. So it would be a significant tyre delta if some drivers pit later than others, but they've been so good at managing that so far this season. There really have not been many cautions. We had a few down at Bristol last week. That's a short track. You don't expect much different. Robert's putting a little bit of pressure here on for Del Fabian. Meanwhile, Tony McCorkle catching up to Richard Collin. Gap in lap time. About 7/10 last time by as McCorkle does make the move. And sure enough, the 0-2 forced to come down pit road. A little bit of slide and entry as well. It's a good job holding on to it. We'll see if it's a little bit too fast on entry there, but it could be that that is race over for the 0-2 crew. That damage is as bad as it seems right now. We'll keep you updated on the status of that pit stop. He will go 1 lap down here, but should be in that looked up position if a caution is to fly. That is, if they can get going with minimal repairs. It looks like they are going to be down on pit road for a little while longer. Meanwhile, Fabian is on the back of Alex Kerfen now. Number 30 falling away from Durand by about a second, with about a 10th lost last lap. Could be a sign of excessive wear from the number 5, or from number 30 I should say, in the recent run. But White Roberts tries to the outside of Fidel Fabian. Can he hold his nose there on corner exit? Not quite, but Fabian has made an aggressive move to block that off. And he will hold on to 4th position for the time being, but is not infallible by any means. So David Durand leads the way by about 0.8 of a second now from Justin. It is worth mentioning, David Durand has also missed one round of the season, so would not be propelled into the championship fight with a win just yet. The lead runners who have made every round, that's into the wall for Justin Durand. And maybe a hardware issue. He's disappeared from the racetrack. That was your second place runner and third in the championship. Into the wall off turn number 4 and now blinking out of existence. Not sure if we're going to see that truck reappear. That could be a mechanical failure for the number 5. I think he might be out of the race here. Stephen Thornton pulls into pit lane for the first scheduled stop of the race. At least we think it will be a scheduled stop. David Durand now leads by 1.5 seconds as Justin drops out of this one. It's now Alex Kerfen, Fidel Fabian, and Wyatt Roberts fighting for the final 2 podium spots. Again, Roberts tries to get to the outside. And these three are under a blanket right now. And I think Roberts might be to the outside. Might be a little bit of draft here on the exit from Kerfen as well. This could bring Wyatt back through. They're going to be side by side. And those outside working together as Stephen Thornton on fresh tyres leaves the pit lane, giving dirty air through the corner. This is really awkward. Of course, has a right to try and race forwards. He's going to have the additional pace right now, but just left the pit lane at the worst time. And it is going to be Roberts and Fabian side by side. Kerfen almost trying to play both lanes. As Robert goes higher, might try and take it 3 wide potentially. And Fabian gets through. Does Roberts have to run off the corner? Kerfen's going to try and push the 11, at least hold on to 3rd place. But Roberts is clear. Can he merge down? He can. And Alex Kerfen has had his pocket picked there. Down from 2nd to 4th. As Wyatt Roberts forced it 3 wide and really pinched the exit for the number 30 truck. Incredible stuff as we approach the pit cycle. And it really has all kicked off as they decide to put what's left of their tyres onto the racetrack. Kerfen right up into the rear bumper of Roberts there, but can't find a way around. I do want to quickly try and get a look back at that incident for Justin Durand. I think this will be the easiest way to get there. Let's go on board here. We'll be facing the other way. But let's go fully on board. Oh, and just loses it there. I think that was a mistake. Naturally through the wheel rather than a mechanical issue, potentially. What followed, I'm not entirely sure. But Durand is going to be out of this one. Carlon is back out on track, but is 9 laps down from your race leaders. And David Durand has a 2.2 second lead now. As we approach the 1/3 mark. In fact, next time by would be the 1/3 point of the race. Do some drivers take that as a sign to pit, especially with the track temp starting to drop? You could make a very valuable undercut work here. It will be vulnerable towards the end of the race. Or the end of the second stint, I should say. We are expecting 2 pit stops in total. And Enrique is seemingly back up to full strength because did just set the fastest lap of this race. Shows what the fresh tyres can do. And Alex Kerfen has taken note. He is the first of the leaders to pull down into pit lane. The question now becomes, what happens now? God, Joshua's been black flagged on the way into pit lane. I'm sorry, we have to look at this one, Josh. And seemingly into hop as Fidel Fabian also. Same problem for Fabian. Get an immediate comparison. Fabian's in, Roberts is in. Osborne also makes a pit stop. David Durand and Herman Cortel have not responded yet. But this is for Fidel Fabian. And the cone is very early. Earlier than you'd expect at a track like this. So Fidel Fabian getting caught out by the early speed limit. As does Joshua Coppenall. And it's a bit more costly for your championship leader than it is for our one-off runner. That will put the number 11 a lap down once the pit cycle finishes. Roberts exited the pits behind Alex Kerfen by about a second. That was a one-lap undercut from Kerfen. He has broken away, in fact, about 2 seconds now. But does have the rest of the stint to try and make this back. Fabian just now rolling off pit road, is currently 2 laps down from your race leader. And in fact, close to 3. But Durand does still have that pit stop left to take. And the points lead to Kerfen was only 3. As things stand, the number 30 would inherit the championship lead from this one. Of course, Justin Durand, your other championship tender, is out of this race after the incident on lap 37, coming off turn number 4. So Fabian would hold on to second, but it would be a big jump for Kerfen, and especially if he can get the race win out of this as well. Is currently the first of the stoppers. As David Durand getting swarmed by traffic here. First, Weston Osborne trying to race 1 lap back. And then Enrique Carlon with that newly repaired truck, who's going for purple laps, really. Is this a sign? On lap number 51, it is. David Durand finally pulls it down pit road. Nice and cautious on the way in, I think that was. Tony McCorkle doing the same, a bit more aggressive through the line, but gets it stopped all the same. And that just leaves Shane O'Neill, who, sure enough, decides to follow the leader. A little bit of a slide, very much a slide actually. But gets it wound up and gets under the limit. That is your pit stop cycle. 2 penalties there, 1 huge for Fidel Fabian. Alex Kerfen gets back, actually inherits the race lead now. So that is a big, big undercut that really has paid off for the number 30. David Durand just now coming through 1 and 2 down on the apron. It's going to hold on to the 3rd position. There you see Fidel Fabian in the background, a lap down after getting caught speeding on the way into pit road. And the drivers are very much spread out now. We just have to wait and see where they converge towards the end of the stint, because Durand is 10 seconds behind Alex Kerfen in the race lead, but he does have 6-lap pressure tyres, and that can be a very valuable thing. And I know we are in a little bit of a, we're in a green flag run right now, but we're at a little bit of a lull, and I given that we had the penalty for Fidel Fabian there on pit entry, I'm really dying to know the difficulties of making that inroads down to pit lane. So I think we are actually going to quickly drag in number 98 of Joshua Coppenall and see what he has to say about the first stint. As oh my goodness! Ooh, very close to Stephen Thornton there, who made the first stop and is on older tyres. Coppenall racing that lap back. See what he has to say. Hello, Josh.
Yeah, hi.
You in.
Yeah.
Quite a interesting first stint there. You were in a very big battle there with Osborne and O'Neill, but then it went a little bit wrong there on pit entry. Talk us through that and how difficult it was, because we saw also our championship leader, Fidel Fabian, make the same mistake and fall a lap down.
Yeah, and I've actually heard a lot of drivers talk about it. It's really tough getting on the pit road here tonight. It just kind of comes up on you quick. Now, I'm a little surprised that the line that it actually is the line that it is. I would have assumed it would have been the next line, and if that was the case, I was good. But I mean, like 20 or 30 miles an hour over the speed limit there coming into pit road. Kind of unfortunate, but I mean, I knew that I was going to struggle tonight anyway. I have literally no experience with the 110% horsepower, so we're out here just taking it easy, and it's been fun though. That battle with Weston, he was definitely keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really interesting pit road call. It's often a little bit after the grass starts in the front stretch, but here much earlier, seemingly. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's very easy to get caught out as we see our championship leader just one spot ahead of you right now, having to race his way back through the field. Yeah, talk about the additional power, because you're saying it's a bit unfamiliar to you. How is it affecting mainly the tyre wear? Something I'm really curious about.
Yeah, I thought I did a great job at saving the tires that first run, as well as, keeping Weston behind me. I got an alert that my right front was wearing low, and it was 43 when I decided to pit. So, it's there, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but that's kind of the reason I'm in the back and those guys are up front. So I don't know. It's tough. It really is. If you get on the throttle a little bit too soon, you're going to be sliding. And I've struggled with that a little bit myself. But again, it just kind of threw me off seeing that my right front was as low as it was.
Well, I'll let you get back to it. Good luck in the rest of this one. And yeah, maybe we'll talk to you at the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to pull me down whenever.
Will do. Thank you to Josh Coppenall for being so gracious and giving us his time in this one. Currently runs in the 9th position after picking up that penalty on pit road. Lap 62 of 134, Alex Kerfen leads by 4.3 seconds. David Durand pit 6 laps later, fell 10 seconds behind, but now has caught back up to Wyatt Roberts for the 2nd position. And is looking to make the overtake as quickly as possible, ideally. The gap between them in terms of lap times is half a second. But Roberts making that truck rather wide out of turn 4. There's a lot of room to work with in 1 and 2 here. And Durand to try and take the long way around. Can he get his nose up? Roberts does manage to close the door. Now into turn number 3, the superior grip there, and Roberts can't fight it any longer. David Durand back up into 2nd place. That's 4 seconds now to chase down Alex Kerfen. Kerfen, as things run, would take the championship lead by about 25 points, I think. So Fidel Fabian is currently David Duran's biggest fan, would love the 24 to take home this race win and stop Kerfen pulling out such an aggressive lead. We haven't had any drivers win 2 races so far this season. If Kerfen can pull this off, he would be the first. So we'll see whether he has what it takes on these tyres, or whether they're going to fall off just a little bit too early. Very close to the halfway point in this one. Lap 67 would be the middle of the race. So maybe that's the signal as to whether this strategy is likely to pay off. Yeah, currently 3 seconds. But it is coming down quickly. We'll just keep this graphic up at the bottom of the screen. Again, half a second gained. With those fresher tyres, Durand gets around Stephen Thornton very easily. The 84 trying not to make it very difficult at all. We saw a close call with Josh just before we pulled into the interview, but I think that was more maybe a little bit of miscommunication, or maybe it just looked closer on camera than it really felt in the trucks. Expect Durand to catch around about lap 72 in 5 laps time. As we have another black flag on pit road on Enrique Carlon, who is off cycle. Had that incident, I guess, is maybe on a 3-stop strategy, or is maybe just pulling this one in to retire it potentially. And unfortunately, oh, let's pull it back a little bit further. Was up quite far, I think, letting a truck go by and then trying to drop it down into pit road, which is always going to be a little bit awkward. And there's the line. You see how early it is compared to where it would be at a conventional 1.5-mile track. And unfortunately there for Carlon, stationary on pit road again. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the signal to bring it behind the wall for the 02 team. Kerfen currently leading the way. Gap is 2 seconds here as we approach the end of lap number 69. The number 91 of Shane O'Neill is behind, and I presume looking to try and get a lap back here, get back onto the lead lap. Currently only 5 trucks within 1.5 miles of Kerfen. A lot of patience being shown here from O'Neill, trying not to get in the way of the fight. I suppose does have the guarantee of the lucky dot if he needs it. But I'm sure Stephen Thornton would love if the 91 can get back through here, just in case something happens in this fight for the lead. It looks like that could be day done for the 02 team. I think they've wheeled that thing behind the wall. And it'll be 59 laps completed, and likely no more for Enrique Carlon. Came into today 5th in points. It should still hold on to that position, but going to lose ground to Wyatt Roberts, who currently runs in the 3rd position. Duran's tyres starting to give way, it seems like. Kerfen's tyres holding steady at around that 31.8 mark. He's been setting those lap times for maybe 10 laps at this point. Every time I've looked over at the tower, he's been in the 31.8s. Durand only able to find a 31.5 now, so we could be hitting that plateau as Stephen Thornton comes down pit road for his 2nd stop of the race. Should be the final scheduled stop, but it is going to be a 52-lap run to the checkers. Scratch that, a 62-lap run to the checkers. 84 might need to make a 3rd trip down pit lane here. At the front of the field, Durand with a 31.717 last time by, continuing to bleed off time, still catching number 30 of Kerfen, who drops into the 9s here, but a 3/10 tire delta might not make a very easy overtake. Track position has proved to be very important so far here tonight. And in the battle for the lead, we know Kerfen will defend in very strongly indeed. And O'Neill just wanting to get out of the way, not wanting to be in this fight, will let David Durant through. Maybe expecting the chances of a caution to be quite low. Still in a spot for the looking opposition if it comes to it. Now half a second between Kerfen and Durand. Comes the point where you start to measure it in truck lengths rather than in time. Gained 2/10 last time by. But the speed has really dropped off for the number 24 here. Went for an aggressive overcut. And it paid off for the most part, but still has to complete the move now. We're about 10-15 laps away from the expected final pit cycle, so if he can get this move done quickly and pull a gap, the strategy could very much pay off for the number 24. How easy is that move going to be when we've seen so few overtakes here so far tonight? We are going to have a lapper involved in this not too far from now. Weston Osborne in the number 14 as the final truck currently on the lead lap. Runs about 3 seconds ahead of Kerfen and Durand. Maybe a little less than that actually. Durand now within striking distance, just has to find a way to build that run and slingshot around the number 30 truck. Kerfen wide on exit, getting on the power very early and drifting up into the second groove, but holds decent pace despite that. They enter turn number 1 here on lap 79 of 134, and there's about a car length between them. Durand tries to hook to the inside. Now you go for the lunge into turn number 3. Not quite yet. Is that a wiggle there for Alex Kerfen? Really struggling now. As Durand goes to the inside. Does he have the grip to clear? Has the nose ahead right now. Kerfen will take the launch off the corner. Will pull back ahead again. Now trading blows the same way in turn 3, and Durand will clear. Can Kerfen get back to the outside? No! Durand shuts the door, and the number 24 gets back to the lead at the end of lap number 80. Is there a response now from Alex, or does he have to try and hold on till the final pit stop cycle and hope that he can make the strategy work? Again, a reminder that Durand did have about a 2-second lead over this group of Kerfen and Roberts before entering the pit lane, so the 30 has gained. The number 30 has gained compared to the end of the first stint. But that's not to be much solace when he sees the leader pulling away slowly but surely. The 31.6 last time by, Durand had a bit left in the tank there to try and build a margin. And of course, Roberts does have 1 lap fresher tyres than Alex Kerfen. It's not the same delta that Durand had, but Alex could still be under a little bit of pressure here. Because they have lap traffic to approach now as well. We mentioned Weston Osborne in the Ram. 5th place, final truck on the lead lap as things stand. and won't want to make this easy because O'Neill is lurking at the back of this group. Try and fight for that lucky dog position as Durand scrapes the wall very gently off turn number 4. Really trying to build that gap and giving it everything to do so. Gains 2/10 on Kerfen last time by. Again, a tap of the wall for your race leader. They don't seem to be hurting the truck a little bit. It could almost be a little bit of netcode potentially, but it's such an aggressive push of the limits here. You gotta wonder how much longer it can hold on before it'll go wrong. Pit window open, well and truly, if anyone wants to make an undercut here. Kerfen just about split the race into third, which would mark about a lap 90 stop to finish this one out. Durand and McCorkle probably looking to a little bit longer after extending their first stint as well. Durand still not able to get around Osborne. Osborne's not particularly slow, to be fair. Similar age of tyre, but I'm sure Durand would love to have the clean air to try and continue building a gap. Just make sure the tyres don't die off too quickly. Now Joshua Coppenol in the fight as well. Durand nearly to the outside. Might try and sweep it around there in 1 and 2, and it could finally be that number 14 dispatched of. As the 14 washes up and makes contact with Durand. Just caught the dirt, yeah, well, just lost the grip in the corner. And nearly big drama there. Weston just misjudging it, trying to leave the high side open. But you saw how tight it got there. And Osborne now getting well out of the way, not wanting to repeat that mistake. Let's go back and have another look at that one. Let's go on board with Osborne here. And it just doesn't bite. It washes up, and great job from Durand to hold on to that. No intent, of course. But very nearly a disaster for your race leader, looking for his first win of the season. Great job to hold on to it and to keep pushing through. Didn't lose that much time, to be completely honest, but could have been a whole lot more. David Durand, by the way, has not picked up a race win in Blazer Sim Racing, as sure enough, lap 90, Kerfen pulls into the pit lane and Roberts will follow directly behind this time. So the pit cycle is open. When does Durand respond? He hasn't had a win in this league in over 2 years. July 2024 at Daytona. Last time in Victory Lane. He's come close since. Picked up a third place finish at Auto Club earlier this season. Could this be the moment that Durand is looking for? He doesn't respond immediately. He's once again going to try and make that overcut work and then chase down your race leaders. They'll be side by side off pit road. Kerfen with maybe a slow stop. Roberts really quick on that one. A 41.5 pit lane time. Great work from Wyatt there. It's not quite enough to jump Alex Kerfen, but he is right in the fight with this one when he was a couple seconds back just a moment ago. Great work from the number 42 crew on pit road there. And Joshua Kopanov black flagged again on pit entry. And just on the power still. Quite late. A moment to forget there for the number 98, I think. And 3 laps later, David Duran does respond. Here we go, on the way into the pit road. Gets it woed up. That's safe. How quick was it, though? Did he bleed off a little bit too much time? It looked fairly aggressive, honestly. I think he's done a good job. Conor McCorkle chooses to stay out, will take the lead of the race for now. Extended the previous stint as well, about the same as David Durand. He might opt to do the same for a couple laps longer. And David Durand off the jacks now. Through the front of the shot are going to come Alex Kerfen. There he goes, Wyatt Roberts as well. So Durand again does give up the race lead. But by what margin? It was 10 seconds last time with a 6-lap tyre delta. Oh, Osborne trying to merge down low, maybe trying to come into the pit lane there. Getting caught by just how quick those fresh tyres are on Alex Kerfen. It is for position, to be fair. Roberts hasn't pit yet, but it's not really for position. And the gap between Alex Kerfen and David Duran this time is 6 seconds. It was 10 seconds with a 6-lap tyre delta. It is 6 seconds now with a 3-lap tyre delta. Is it going to be enough for David Durand to make his way through on this one? And crucially, does Wyatt Roberts have a role to play in this as well? Roberts would launch into the championship conversation with a win here. Currently sits 4th in the standings despite not picking up a win this season. David Durand has gone fastest. First driver in the race to go under 30 seconds. So he is pushing. He wants to build to bring this gap back down. The question becomes, how much tyre to burn now, and how much do you try and save so you have something to fight with once you get there? If you catch up quickly but then don't have the tyre to make the move, it's all really for naught. In the final 40 laps, still a few drivers yet to make their final stops. McCorkle, of course, at the front of the field. 15 seconds clear, but yet to make a stop. Shane O'Neill, Weston Osborne, and Fidel Fabian put up these stint lengths. Thornton's going to be marginal to the end here. Charles and Durand are retirements from this one. But those are the 4 with more than 40 laps on the tyres. They are going to be down pit road very shortly indeed. And in fact, Conor McCorkle... No, not quite. Fidel Fabian will be down this time. And unlike our commentator friend, Fidel Fabian does learn from his mistakes, does not pick up a penalty the second time around. But unfortunately, still going to be stuck a lap down from his championship rivals. Osborne also down on pit road this time by Conor McCorkle. You're going to stay out. Going to continue to push this one as we reach the end of lap 100 now. Kerfen has a 7/10 of a second gap to Wyatt Roberts still. Those two very much holding stations right now. Durand within 5 seconds of your net race leader. And much like we had a little bit earlier in the race, it's going to be the calm before the storm. There's a lot going on. It's all about tyre management. It's about maximizing what you have underneath you, holding the maximum pace possible for Kurfin to try and avoid the fight, for Durand to try and initiate it, while not throwing away your chance to battle if it comes to it. We'll only really know up in the booth and in the stands how that all shapes out in 30 laps time. For now, it is a waiting game for the drivers. Durand half a second faster last time by, as Cody McCorkle does now pull into pit road. Alex Kurfin will re-inherit the race lead officially now, with Wyatt Roberts flying through into second place. And it makes the delta a little bit easier to read. Durand 3.6 seconds. Really started to put the hammer down. We can show you the comparison to second place here. Wyatt Roberts gained 3.5 tenths. Gained another tenth to Kurfin last time by. The gap at the front has shrunk just a little bit as well. And I think this overcut strategy could end up paying off for the number 24. He's just got to hope he's got enough to make the moves again. There goes Cody McCorkle. Falls a lap down as Durand does kiss the wall there. You only have 3 trucks left on the lead lap now. That is quite astonishing. Because McCorkle does have the fresh tyres, is likely to race this one back. I'm sure the leader's hoping he does it as patiently as possible. But that's not really McCorkle's concern here. He wants to make sure that he builds the gap to the trucks behind. Roberts is closing in on Kurfin here. Gap is now to 0.3 of a second. Kurfin may have pushed a little bit too hard early. Maybe Roberts is pushing a bit too hard now. It's really difficult to know this ebb and flow. You just see which gap is closing. You don't really get too much information as to why. Even in the truck, it can be difficult to know whether you're using too much or whether the truck ahead is using too little. You just got to try and be as smooth as possible. Try and let the tyres speak to you. Listen to what they're saying and use that to build the best run that you can, as Roberts is within, well, within a truck length now. Does he try and go for the move now, or does he wait and try and force Alex to burn up a little bit more? I would think the move is to try and get the move done quickly, because drivers have talked so often about how bad the dirty air is. These trucks use a lot of downforce and a big wake. You have to pick your spot here. It's very difficult to force a move around here. And so Roberts really got to work this one out, and quickly, because David Durand is approaching. And once you have a truck on fresh tyres fighting you, you don't really have that chance to push forwards anymore. You're too focused on the mirrors and keeping the number 24 behind. Cortal goes around the outside here of Roberts. Also to try to go on the outside of number 30, I think Wyatt trying to use that lapper as a pick, really, to get an attack on Kurfin. It's not going to pay off, but we do now have the portal back onto the lead lap. Throwing a bit of dirt, yeah, back at Kurfin for the time being. He'll pull away fairly quickly, but that's not really much solace. There's not that much time for the 30 to work with. He has to deal with it for the time being. Durand within 2 seconds of your race leader. And a fight directly between these two. Kurfin will take a huge championship lead with a win here. Is gonna potentially take the charge regardless. But Fabian is up into the 5th position now in a fight with Weston Osborne to hold on to that top 5. If Roberts takes the race win, then he makes it a 4-driver fight at the top of the table. And if Durand can fly through, then he is Fabian's best friend. He's also going to be Justin's best friend if he can deny either of these two the winner's points. And again, the charge slows down a little bit as Durand gets within 2 seconds. Again, nearly up against the wall, maybe pushing a bit too hard and taking some life out of those Goodyear tyres. But we also saw in the previous stint that Durand had saved something in reserve and built a gap once he got around. So it's difficult to know whether he's doing the same thing here and maybe has something that he's saving to fight with at the end of this one. There's still 22 laps on the table as Roberts gets to the inside of Alex Kerfen. They're going to be side by side off the corner. Roberts has the run off the corner even. He's going to get the nose ahead on the way into turn number 3. Can he hold the inside line and take the race lead? It looks like he can. Does Kerfen have the crossover? Maybe. Roberts maybe into the wall there, but carries the momentum. And with 20 laps to go, Wyatt Roberts takes the race lead from Alex Kerfen. And now it is the number 30 directly being hunted down by David Durand. And Roberts going to try and pull off into this Texas sunset. Much closer to dusk, to be honest, but sunset sounds fancier. Roberts went 2 thousandths faster than David Durand last time by. Small margin. But potentially, Wyatt was saving something in reserve and now can try and push away. Fabian has built about a 1.1 second gap to Osborne. If we do get a caution from something in this lead fight or anywhere else on the track, that would give the lucky dog to the 11th. He'd be back into the fight at the end of this race. But we have run clean for 116 laps. The struts are spread out. I'm not sure it's likely unless it's coming together for this front spot. Kerfen now 4/10 adrift of Wyatt Roberts. The 42 are doing a great job. Started in 6th position as well. Has basically matched Kerfen's strategy and remarkably seems to have outraced the number 30 here. Had a great second pit stop to close back in and at the perfect time has sprung the move and taken the race lead. The only question mark now, it feels like, is whether David Durand can slice through this battle or whether Kerfen will end up playing rear gunner unwillingly to let Roberts take this one. Gap is now half a second, make that 6/10. And Roberts is matching Durand's pace. Not quite out-dragging the number 24, but is very close to it. And of course, David keeps getting worse and worse from Alex Kerfen as the number 30 falls back. As things stand, I'm pretty sure, with Kerfen being 3 positions ahead of Fidel Fabian, they will be level on points coming out of Texas and towards Watkins Glen. If David Durand could get the move done, it might actually let Fidel Fabian hold on to the championship lead, which no one was expecting after that first pit stop cycle and the speeding penalty. But Fabian has done a great job keeping his head down. And incidents have befallen some other drivers in this one to make sure Fabian is still in with a shot at a top 5. 15 to go now. Wyatt Roberts continues to extend the gap, 7/10 back to Kerfen, keeping Durand at over a second, as he has for about 10 laps now. Is there anything that number 24 has left in the tank to try and get this move done? Or does Roberts have a clean run to the checkers here? Durand is now a second and a half behind. He's soaring at the wheel. Again, scraping up against the wall. A 32.0 last time by. Roberts with a 31.8. Maybe just running out of steam here. And again, a Whittler just slide off turn number 2. Holds on, but is losing pace now to the race leader, despite the 3-lap tyre advantage. Roberts has done a fantastic job saving behind Alex Kerfen, and is making the absolute most of it here. Was a slow lap for the leader last time by, though. Lost about a 10th and a half. Just let Kerfen close back in ever so slightly. Again, these two on matching tyres. Roberts followed Kerfen right in at the end of lap 90 for the final pit stops. This is as even of a fight as it could possibly be. And Kerfen has gained a 10th or 2 here, because Roberts overexerted trying to build the gap, get out of slipstream range potentially. They're going to catch Joshua Coppenall 3 laps down, could be coming towards 4. Has lost a minute and 20 seconds from penalties on pit road. That's close to 3 of those laps. Fidel Fabian, meanwhile, about 44 seconds off the race leaders, and of course lost 40 seconds to the penalty, so keeping well in this fight. Might be just a tiny bit behind it, but it's hard to say. Things would have played out so differently. Kerfen now has fallen back a bit. Maybe Roberts catching a bit of slipstream that's helping on the straightaways. But with slipstream comes dirty air. I'm sure Josh not wanting to be the deciding factor in this fight, but also can't really disappear with 7 laps to go. See how Wyatt Roberts navigates. Roberts going for his first race win of the season. And this is his first season in the series, so this would be a debut win. Gap is nearly a second now. So looking promising as Kerfen does get out of the way. And slots in behind. Thornton is on slightly fresher tyres in this group, is coming up to the back of this group, but also doesn't have much to fight for. Might just elect to sit and watch the show. from the best seat in the house. 5 laps now in this one. Roberts leads by nearly a second. David Durand 6/10 off Alex Kerfen, might not have enough time to fight this one. O'Neill is fighting for the 6th position with Weston Osborne as well, has 4-lap fresher tyres, gets to the outside in the quad oval. Gonna try and run this move. I'm keeping an eye on the battle for the lead, but this is on track for a position in the final 5 laps right now. And O'Neill has the tyre advantage to try and make this happen. Durand's now within 4/10 of Alex Kerfen here. Kerfen more than a second away from the lead. And with the lap short of Joshua Coppenall in the way, Josh is making sure to give plenty of clean air through 1 and 2. Isn't really impeding Kerfen in any meaningful way, but just can't seem to close in. Get around. I'd have to be a second no matter if there's a truck there or not. And with 2 laps to go, Roberts leads by 1.2 seconds from Alex Kerfen. Just has to bring it home. Over down in turn 3, Shane O'Neill has completed that move on Weston Osborne for the 6th position. Kerfen getting around Joshua Coppenall now. Durand's still stuck behind as we come to the white flag here in Texas. Roberts started this race in 6th position, has never won in the Laser Sim Racing Truck Series, but played a great strategy, followed the expert Alex Kerfen, had a great stop in the second cycle to close up to the back, and then pounced when the moment was right and never looked back. Wyatt Roberts wins at Texas. Alex Kerfen will come home in 2nd place, fending off David Durand, who didn't have enough. He will round out the podium. The Cork will be your final truck on the lead lap. But all of the credit goes to Wyatt Roberts in the number 42 Chevrolet. Drove a perfect race and is rewarded at the end of the day. He takes home the checker flag. It is Wyatt Roberts continuing the celebrations in front of a sellout crowd here at Texas. What a fantastic run for the number 42, taking the first win in BSR competition. Let's have a look at our full race results here from the Lone Star State. 1.5 seconds was the gap. Wyatt Roberts pulled out a great margin and takes home the race victory. Alex Kerfen will come home in 2nd place, I think tied for the championship lead now, with David Durand rounding out the podium. Couldn't quite make the overcut work on that final stint. Cody McCorkle finishes final truck on the lead lap, and Fidel Fabian recovers from that speeding penalty, finishes in 5th place, 1 lap down, and still in that championship fight. Shane O'Neill comes home in 6th place with Weston Osborne in 7th. Great battle to the end for them. With Stephen Thornton 3 laps down, Josh Coppenold speeding twice will finish in 4th. And then Enrique Carlon and Justin Durand will round out your field for tonight's race. And speaking of Joshua Coppenold, he has quickly jumped back up into the booth for us. What do you think of that one, first of all?
Oh man, I am worn out. That was tough, but it was pretty fun out there. Speeding on pit road though twice, man, that's unfortunate. But
yeah, we might talk about that one for a couple of weeks. We do have our race winner to talk to. I think I'm going to take this one because I'm dying to know how the number 42 feels. Wyatt Roberts, Blazer Sim Racing Truck Series race winner. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, started the race down in 6th, but man, through the attrition and through all those laps with no breaks in between, no cautions, did great on the 2 stops and saved the tire there on the final run. And yeah, I can't believe it. Finally, a winner on JCTV.
You really did a great job. Talk about the strategy first of all. Was it your plan to kind of follow Kerfin the whole way there and just mirror what he was doing, or did it just happen to work out that you two were on the same run plan?
I figured if this race goes caution free, which it did, I was gonna split it in the 3rd, so like a 45-90 pit stop. I think I ran it a little bit longer on the first stint, but I saw how far ahead he got doing the short pit, because I think he came down like only 2 laps before, and he came out of the pits 5 seconds ahead. And I started to catch him towards the end of the 2nd run, but it just like wasn't really enough. So I knew I had to follow him. I felt like I was slightly better at tire saving, and I really executed well on the 3rd run with the tire saving. So came down at the same time. I didn't want to lose time by staying out longer, and also made up the time on the 24 truck by coming down when he did. So yeah, and did good on both the stops and got it down the pit speed. And that's what happened to Fidel. Is I was running with him on the first run, and he sped, so that was part of the attrition. But yeah, it worked out being on the number 30's tire strategy, and just did it slightly better.
Yeah, we're just looking at this pit stop here. In the 2nd run, you went 41.5 cone to cone, 6/10 faster than Alex Kerfin, and a great entry as well. How crucial do you think that was for your run at the end there?
Oh yeah, definitely very crucial. I mean, 6/10 in the truck is a lot. And I entered a little bit far behind. I mean, he called out his pit road. I said, you know what, I'm copying you. So I came down, and I'm honestly not too comfortable with the Texas pit stops. That cone is so early on compared to like other 1.5 mile tracks. So I was really just trying to be careful, but I like to think that I'm pretty good at getting on and off pit road. I've made up positions in other races doing that, just sending it and getting as close as you can, but to the speed limit without getting a penalty.
And then sitting behind for another 20 laps, and then sprinting the move about 20 laps to go. Was that pre-planned? Were you trying to save a bit of tire behind the number 30 before making the move, or was that just when the best opportunity came up?
Yeah, I was trying to save tire and catch him naturally, and I didn't want to force it and then burn up my tire and then just be slow for the whole final run. That would suck, of course. And just once I got there, started looking at a move and battled a little bit, and with the air, he was aero blocking me a little bit. I got really tight at one point, and then fell a couple tenths back and had to reset up the whole thing for the next few laps. And I just didn't want to be too aggressive or force it too much. I knew we had that 24 truck chasing us fast, and I didn't want to like let the 24 catch up and sneak in and steal the race win from either of us. So I was just trying to be efficient about it, but I knew I had to get it done sooner than later. But yeah, I didn't want to force it.
Well, it was a brilliant move for the race win, and with that, by my calculations, I think you're about 4 points now behind the championship lead. How are you feeling about being in this fight now, and how do you think Watkins Glen will treat you in a week's time?
Yeah, I mean, I know with this points format, the 2026 NASCAR format, of course, you must win. I mean, they don't have winning you're in playoffs or anything, but they give you 20 extra points for a win over second place. And in this 12-week series, we absolutely need to get as many wins as possible, especially since we're not getting that many trucks shown out. So hopefully get more. But it's like that's just how important a win is, and hopefully we can get another one. I like Watkins Glen. I like road course racing. I don't drive the truck as much, but hopefully, you're going to have a quick truck for Watkins Glen, and it's going to be a long one. I believe it's like 72 laps, which is probably the longest Watkins Glen NASCAR race I've ever done. So that one's going to also be attrition and just consistency, and hopefully the 42 team can get it done there.
Well, congratulations, a great win, a great race run, and all that's left to say now is whatever you have to the fans, the fan cues, the floor is yours. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks to my dad who watches all my broadcast races. Happy we can finally get a win here in the 42 Quick Stick and Lube truck. And shout out to all the people at BSR and JCTV for putting on an awesome league and awesome broadcasts.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time out.
Yeah, thank you.
That was your race winner, Wyatt Roberts. Alex Kerfin is standing by with Joshua Toppenall.
Hey, Alex, was definitely a quick run for you tonight. You were out front all race long. What was it like out there on track with a completely green race?
Yeah, pretty small field, so a green race is not a surprise. We don't get those too often, but until we get that field size back up, it'll probably be the norm. Maybe one or two cautions here and there, but it was still a fun race with the guys up front. I like to try to have fun each week, not try to take it too serious, especially when we're trying to rebuild the league. Yeah, just need to get that participation up, and hopefully we can get more guys out on the track next week.
Pit road entry was really tough. I mean, there was one idiot that sped twice getting into pit road. I know one of your concerns was...
I think his initials are on the broadcast.
Yeah, TV, yeah. So, I know you were really concerned with pit road yourself. You executed both times without speeding. What was going through your mind both times we had to pit tonight?
Yeah, before the race, I was joking with the rest of the guys that there's definitely going to be a non-zero amount of people getting pit road speeding penalties this race with how slick it was and how fast the cones come up. You got to get a lot of the braking done on the track before you transition down onto the apron, and that trips a lot of people up and can really upset the truck, get you loose, get you sliding into the commitment zone too fast. So yeah, that was a big point of mine before the race, is practicing pit entry, and definitely paid off. Kept me out in front of a couple of people that were definitely fast all race.
All right, well, sponsors shout out, who gets it done for you?
Yeah, shout out to Wyatt for getting the dub. Shout out to David. He was definitely the fastest truck all race. He just flubbed it a little bit on the strategy, but who hasn't? I definitely have. So Shout out to the rest of my team. They're awesome. Shout out to everyone who's still watching the league, who's still racing in the league. We would really like to build the participation back up. So tell your friends, tell your family. If you know anyone who wants to race in the league, let them know. We're welcoming anyone in right now. So thanks to all my sponsors, Kerfans Market, C2 Graphics, ACJC Gaming. And yeah, thanks to you guys for the great broadcast, and I'll see you guys next week. Definitely hoping more participation for next week.
Absolutely. Congrats on the runner-up finish here tonight at Texas.
Thank you.
And that was Alex Kerfan, second place finisher here tonight.
And doesn't look like we've got David Durand on the line for the third place interview. So that could be our broadcast. Nice and quick one, of course. No cautions, but what a great battle for the win at the end there.
Yeah, I didn't really get to see much of it, but I was watching on the track map that they were really close, and I think it's awesome to see Wyatt Roberts win. He made a comment that it was his first win on JCTV. I've known Wyatt for a long time now, and broadcasted races with him in it previously, and actually that really surprised me to hear that stat. But he is a great driver. He's got a great number. I love his paint schemes every week too. The Quaker Steak and Lube. It's a great restaurant. I wish there was one around me, but incredible drive from Wyatt Roberts here tonight. Absolutely. And, you know, I made this, I pointed this out last week with him doing a full distance Daytona 500 before the race last week. Well, you know, again, he did a not a full distance race, but a race at Atlanta before this one. I was also in that race, and I was worn out after Atlanta. I can't imagine how he was feeling. He had a great strategy in that one too until things came apart there for him. But overall, I mean, I'd say Wyatt Roberts had a pretty good night.
Yeah, a great run, taking home the checkered flag with essentially a mistake-free race. That's really the crucial thing here, especially when you see with drivers like Fidel Fabian making mistakes onto pit road and costing themselves a chance. Just being able to get that perfect execution and a really clean entry on that second stop is exactly what you need to put yourself at the front of a field like this. You know, it might be short numbers, but at the front of the field, it's still very competitive for those race wins.
Yeah, especially in a season like this, there's only 12 weeks. We don't have a playoffs. We don't have a chase. You know, it's just straight start to finish for the season with one drop week. So, you know, those mistakes will hurt a guy like Fidel Fabian, who has won already this season back at Daytona. You know, he's up there in points, but something like this, he can't afford to have. So, Fidel Fabian, he needs to really have a great stretch of races here.
Yeah, and speaking of the stretch of races coming up, we mentioned next week, the last one before a 1 week break, and we are over at Watkins Glen Road Course Racing for what is going to be a bit of an endurance run. And not quite the 6 hour, but going to be a fun one to watch. And honestly, I'm kind of tempted to see if there's another truck with keys left in it, because I do love some road course running.
I think that would be a lot of fun to see you out there racing Watkins Glen. You know, maybe we make that happen. But yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen. It's a fun race, no matter if I'm in the booth or on the track. A little bit funner in the booth for me because my road course skills aren't there. But yeah, that should be a really fun one. 72 laps next week at the great Watkins Glen.
And that will be the halfway point of the season. Again, I think we have 4 trucks within about 10 points for that championship fight. So that one's going to be crucial. If any of them can pick up a win, it will propel them into the championship lead heading into the back half, which kicks off with Chicagoland. That'll be in 3 weeks' time. But for now, it's going to be on to next week at Watkins Glen and heading out of the Lone Star State. Any final thoughts here, Josh?
Yeah, don't speed on pit road. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this race, broadcasting it, and just thank the guys for allowing me to race this one. It was we didn't go out there and do much, but it was still fun.
Well, that is it for tonight's broadcast. From everyone here at JCTV, we say thank you so much for joining us. We will see you out next week at Watkins Glen. Sign-up's still open if you want to be out on the track as well. Or you can join us 8 p.m. Eastern Time as always. And all that's left to say is congratulations, Wyatt Roberts' first win on JCTV and propelled straight into the fight for the title. We'll see you out next time week at Watkins Glen. Thank you.